And rising. Come on in, family. I'm coming to you with a short lesson pertaining to the beginning. There are a multitude of people out there through false traditions of men that think that Adam and Eve were the first man and woman on planet Earth. But Adam and Eve were not the first humans on Earth. And your scriptures, in which you call the Bible, says so. There absolutely were people on the earth before Adam and Eve, and the scripture says so. Who do you think Cain was afraid of when he was kicked out of the garden because he slew his brother Abel? Cain was afraid of the people that were created on the sixth day. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, it states that Adam knew Eve, his wife. I noticed there's a few typos in here. Please forgive me. I was texting. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, it states, Adam knew Eve, his wife, and bare Cain, and then she again bare his brother Abel. Then in the same chapter, verse 3 through 8 of Genesis chapter 4, Cain rises up and slew or killed his brother Abel. So now, according to the false traditions of men, you now have Adam, Eve, and Cain. So if you only have Adam, Eve, and Cain, according to Genesis chapter 4, verse 13 through 15, Cain is kicked out of the garden with Adam and Eve, and contrary to what is being taught in the church, Adam was not Cain's father, but that's another lesson. Cain is afraid that those who find him would kill him. Who is he afraid of if through the false traditions of men, it's only Adam, Eve, and himself? Cain was afraid of the very people that were created on the sixth day. Then Cain went to the land of Nod and took him a wife. Where did Cain get his wife? Adam and Eve did not have another child until Genesis chapter 5, verse 3, and their third child's name was Seth. So where did Cain get his wife from, and where did Lamech get his two wives from in Genesis chapter 4, verse 19? Cain and Lamech got their wives from the people that were outside of the garden that were created on the sixth day creation. Adam and Eve were not the first people on planet Earth, and the scripture says so. Back over in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 through 5, it states, is the first yom or day. Bereshit or Genesis chapter 1, verse 6 through 8 states that this is the second yom or day. In Bereshit or Genesis chapter 1, verse 9 through 13, it states that this is the third yom or day. In Bereshit or Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 through 19, it states that this is the fourth yom or day. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 20 through 23, it states that this is the fifth yom or day. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 24 through 31, it states that this is the sixth day. Now pay close attention to Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 through 38. It states that Abba Yahuwah created man in his own image. Male and female created he them, and Abba Yahuwah baruched them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and to replenish. You see, replenish the earth. These are the people from the 6-day creation that were living in the land of Nod outside of the garden. Adam and Eve were not created until the 7th day. These people were created on the 6th day. Adam and Eve didn't come about until Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 and 2 states that this is the 7th day in Genesis chapter 2. Then in Genesis chapter 2, verse 3 through 25, Abba Yahuwah fashions Adam from the dust or the clay of the earth. Then he puts Adam to sleep and takes a rib from Adam and fashions Kawa or Eve. Kawa or Eve were a special people in whom we all come from, but they were not the only people on earth. So when Cain slew his brother Abel and was kicked out of the garden, he was afraid that those would kill him. Those were the people from the 6th-day creation. This is where Cain got his wife from, and this is where Lamech got his 2 wives from. Cain did not marry his sister. That's a lie. He married the people from the 6th-day creation. The 3rd child born to Adam and Eve, Genesis chapter 5, verse 3, was Seth. Now, I won't keep you long with this one. I'm trying to be short and straight to the point. Let's prove this using a companion Bible pertaining to the 6th-day creation. And we primarily want to focus on Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through 28, when he says, go and replenish the earth. Using E.W. Bullinger's companion Bible, which was a historian and biblical scholar. This is King James Version. Let's prove what I just said. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and prove this. Companion Bible, and you can pull this up online yourself, family. Let's chapter 1, and where it says right here, and Yahuwah, not G-O-D, said, let us make mankind in the likeness of our image, and let them have dominion over the fish, over the fowls of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that is in the earth. And let's go over here. And look at verse 26. The divine purpose here is stated, the divine act not described until chapter 2, verse 7, where it says he created man in his image. In the original Hebrew manuscripts, it says Adam with no article. That means mankind in general. So these people that were created on the 6th day right here, it says with no article. They were a separate people. And notice what it says here in verse 28, replenish. You see, that means to do again. You see, let's look at Genesis chapter 2. Once again, I want you to see here that the people created on the 6th day creation in the original Hebrew, there is no article, proving that they were a different people that were created on the 6th day. So then, before proceeding to chapter 2, you see right here, Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, and Yahuwah saw that everything he made, and behold, it was beautiful, and the evening and the morning were the 6th day. So Genesis chapter 1, verse 31 where the people were created that came from the 6-day creation, whom Cain was afraid of, they were created on this day. Adam and Eve were not created until the 7th day. Look at what it says here. Thus Genesis chapter 2, verse 1, thus the heavens and the earth, which are now, were finished, and all the hosts with them. And on the 6th day he ended his work, which he made, and rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Yahuwah baruched the 7th day, Genesis chapter 2, verse 3, and he baruched the 7th day and rested from all his work which he did. Now, in chapter 2, verse 7, here Adam is formed, and Yahuwah formed as a potter a man, Adam, from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils. So in verse 7, Adam is formed. So let's look here on verse 7, formed as a potter, and in the Hebrew it says eth, E-T-H, eth. Ha-Adam, with an article, meaning the Adam. So this Adam here was a special Adam in which we all now come from. So in the Hebrew, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, this Adam is Ha-Ahadam, and in Hebrew, Ha means the Adam. And he was created on the 7th day. Then later on in this chapter 2, verse 22 and verse 21, and Yahuwah caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and took one of his ribs, a curve or a side, and closed up his flesh instead. And he made a woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. And Eve's true name is Kawa or Kua. That's her name. So Adam and Eve were created on the 7th day, outside of the people that were created on the 6th day. This is who Cain was afraid of, family. So when you look up the word Adam, it comes from the word red or ruddy. And according to the Zondervan's King James Compact Study Bible, ruddy, a word used to refer to the red or fair complexion in contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. So Adam would have been a deep mahogany ruddy brown, such as the African soil or clay. Adam was this skin tone here. A ruddy man or a ruddy woman can produce all shades of brown, in which you call black. The Sun Bushman of Africa holds the oldest DNA on planet Earth, going back nearly 200,000 years, and they are a ruddy, red bone complected people. A ruddy red bone man or woman can make all shades of brown or black. The so-called black woman and black man with ninth ether hair and all different shades of brown, in which they call black, we are the original Adam and Eve on planet Earth. You see, the so-called black man and black woman are the original humans, H-U-E. Man's melanin. We are the original melanated people, humans, you see? And the more melanin a person has, the more loving and the more compassionate they are. The more melanin you have, the more you are able to discern and have your senses, and you are compassionate. There is no one or no race on planet Earth that is more loving, compassionate, and forgiving than those that are classified as black, because we are the original Adam and Eve on planet Earth. We were created in the Father's image, Yahuwah, which in Daniel 7:9, it refers to the Heavenly Father as being a dark complected, woolly haired man sitting on the throne, as his son Yahushua is described as well in the book of Revelations chapter 1. The Father Yahuwah and his son Yahushua are black, and their children, which is us, the melanated humans on planet Earth, we are the original Adam and Eve, the sons of Abraham, from the tribe of Jacob or Jacob. All other races outside of the so-called black man and black woman are respectfully Neanderthal or subhuman. I am not saying that to be mean. Scientists verifies and back this up. We are the original Adam and Eve on planet Earth. My brothers and sisters, and to you Gentiles and other nations, but I am specifically talking to my brothers and sisters right now, especially you sisters. Stop letting them manipulate you through this false media. There's nothing more beautiful on earth than black women in their natural state. And that's not to take away from the other races on the earth. But we, the melanated black people, are the original Adam and Eve, and our hair is woolly, ninth ether. We are the lost sheep of the house of Israel, daughters of Zion. Please respectfully stop conforming to the image of the beast. Our hair is alive. It's curly. It curls towards the sun. It is living. You see, it's not respectfully straight and stringy like the other nations. We were created in the Father and the Son's image. Learn to love yourselves, daughters of Zion. We are the original Adam and Eve. The hair industry rakes in billions of dollars annually from the confused melanated woman. There's nothing more beautiful than you in your natural state. Learn to love yourselves. You are Kawa. You are Eve. And black man, you are Adam. Respectfully to the other races, please look this up. The geneticists state that all races outside of the black man and black woman are part Neanderthal. Neanderthal, respectfully, are the cavemen, the cave woman, the Canaanites, the Kenites. All other races outside of the melanated man and woman, according to modern day geneticists, respectfully, with love. We love all people. There is no hate in my heart and no hate in anybody's heart that is connected to this ministry or my family. We love and ahab all people, but the truth must come out. Please research this yourself. This article was printed by Discovery Magazine, and it states that all races outside of the human race, this Discovery Magazine 2011 edition, You're Not Human, you could pull the entirety of this article up on the internet, and the geneticists state in this study that all races outside of the black man and black woman is subhuman. Listen, what it is, the pineal gland is calcified. All other races primarily have a calcified pineal gland, and that makes them more prone and subject to violence. But when you have a decalcified pineal gland and you have a high amount of melanin in you, and a lighter skinned black man or woman is not less melanated than a darker skinned melanated man or woman. Go look at on YouTube, Dr. Layla Africa, We Are Different. And the brother who is no longer with us proves this in his study. We are different. A lighter skinned melanated man or woman does not have less melanin than a darker skin. But the more melanin you have, the more loving and compassionate you are. Going back to the beginning, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, in the beginning, Yahuwah created Shamayim, or heaven, and the earth. Verse 2, and the earth became waste and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of Yahuwah moved upon the face of the waters. Where it says darkness was upon the earth, that word in Hebrew is without form, waste, tohu and bohu. So that means to be utterly destroyed in the Hebrew. So in verse 1, the Creator made this earth perfect. But in verse 2, it becomes tohu and bohu, which in Hebrew means utter waste, urine, destroyed utterly. So what the Christian church has not taught, that in Genesis chapter 1 and between Genesis 1 and 1 and Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, there are eons of time. When the Father created the earth in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, he created it perfect. Book of Hebrews chapter 11 through verse 3. Through faith we understand that the worlds, plural, were framed by the word of Elohim, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Book of Psalms chapter 33 verse 6 through 9. Pay attention. By the word of Yahuwah were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. He gathered the waters of the sea together as a heap and laid up the depths in the storehouse. Let all the earth fear Yahuwah. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spake, and it was done, and he commanded, and it stood fast. So in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, Abba Yahuwah spoke this world into existence. Book of Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 23. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens had no light. So when the Creator created earth, he spoke it into existence, and it was. That's Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. He created this world perfect just by speaking it. Back to Bereshit or Genesis 1:1 again. And Yahuwah created the earth, the heavens and the earth perfect. But in verse 2, it says, and the earth became waste and void. How did it become waste and void? Tohu and bohu in Hebrew means to be utterly destroyed. It was destroyed by Satan because this was his first dominion. Satan was here on earth before mankind was ever created. Let's prove this. Book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So Satan was kicked out and cast out of heaven. Many of you may say, well, Elder, when was he kicked out? Revelations chapter 12. Let's pick it up at verse 7. And there was war in heaven, or Shamaim, and Michael and his Malachims, or angels, fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought against his Malachims, or angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven, or Shamaim. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels with him. Satan's angels are known as demons, and according to Revelations, or Hazun chapter 12 verse 9, he was cast to the earth. When was he cast to the earth? Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. This is how the world became tohu and bohu, utterly destroyed, because Satan destroyed it. That's why in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 through 28, Yahuwah told the people on the sixth day that were created before Adam and Eve, he says, go and replenish. That means to do it again, because it was utterly destroyed in Genesis chapter 1 verse 2 by Satan. Book of Yeshayahu, or Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 through 17. Pay attention. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Lucifer is not his name. In the Hebrew, Lucifer means beautiful, bright, and shining one, which Satan truly was. How art thou fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of El. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the side of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Verse 16, pay attention. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? This is who Eve was talking to in the garden. Lucifer, Satan, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof? When did he make the world a wilderness? In Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, where it says Yahuwah moved upon the face of the waters. Abba Yahuwah had to redo the earth, replenish it, because between Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, Satan utterly tohu and bohu destroyed this earth, and Abba Yahuwah Elohim was replenishing it, cleansing it after it was destroyed by the one whom they call Satan, which was the tree that was in the midst of the garden that was talking to Eve. Book of Mark chapter 8 verse 38, pertaining to trees. Satan was the tree in the midst of the garden. Mark chapter 8, verse 24. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking in the garden. Walking. What is symbolic to a tree? Our spine. Our limbs are as branches, our arms as branches, and our legs are as the roots. Satan was the tree in the midst of the garden who Eve or Kawa was talking to. Book of Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 1. The word of Yahuwah came unto me again, saying, Son of man, say to the prince of Tyrus, thus the sovereign Yahuwah, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a El, I sit in the seat of Elohim in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not an El, though thou set thy heart as the heart of Elohim. Thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver and into thy treasure. Let's see here. Verse 12. Let's cut to the chase. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus and say unto him, thus saith the sovereign Yahuwah, thou sealest up the psalm, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, the gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so that thou was upon the set apart mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day which thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled thee with the midst, filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain, O Elohim, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by the reason of thy brightness. That's what Lucifer means, bright and shining one, beautiful one. I will cast thee to the ground. When was he cast to the ground? Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. I will lay thee before kings that they may behold thee. Ezekiel 31, verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, with a shadowing shroud and a high stature. His top was among the thick broods. The waters made him great. The deep set him on high, with her rivers running round about its plants, and set out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his broods were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters. When he shot forth, all the fowls of heaven or Shamaim made their nest in his broods, and under his branches did all beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwelt all nations. Thus was he fair or beautiful in his greatness in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. The cedars. Remember Mark chapter 8. I see men as trees. The cedars in the garden of Elohim could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his broods, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of Elohim was like unto him in his beauty. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of Elohim envied him. He was a tall, beautiful being. This is who Eve was talking to in the garden. Now the serpent, Genesis 3:1, now the serpent, which is the devil, Lucifer, was more subtle or cunning than any beast of the field. Beast can refer to mankind. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 32, Apostle Paul referred to the Gentiles as beast. So beast can refer to mankind. Once again, 1 Corinthians 15:32. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Eve or Kawa, Yea, have Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the trees in the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch. That word touch in the Hebrew is Strong's Concordance number 5060, and it is naga, N-A-G-A, and that means to lie with a woman. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, Ye shall not eat. The word eat in Hebrew is Strong's Concordance Hebrew number 398, and it means to lay, L-A-Y, your hand upon. You shall not eat, neither shall ye touch, naga, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall surely not die. For Elohim doeth knoweth that in the day that you eat thereof, your eyes shall be open, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, we just gave a description of Satan, Abba Yahuwah's most beautiful creation in heaven and on earth. So imagine Kawa or Eve continually talking to this beautiful being every day. Nothing can compare to Satan or the devil in beauty, not in heaven or on earth. And the woman saw that the tree, which was Satan, was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And we can get into this in another study in the book of Jasher, where it shows that Satan had the ability to shapeshift. But that's for another lesson. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahuwah Elohim walking in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And Elohim called unto Adam and said, Where art thou? And he said, I heard the voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said unto the woman whom thou gave to be with me, She gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And Elohim said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? Why do you think in the book of Ecclesiasticus it says, Of woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die? Eve or Kawa was the first one to commit sin. You see? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me. The word beguiled in the Greek is a word called expatio, and it means to wholly seduce, to wholly deceive. And Yahuwah Elohim said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. That is an allegory, you see. So, and verse 15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So Satan has a seed here on earth. When you read the book of Genesis chapter 5 and you look at Adam and his sons, you will never see Cain listed in Adam's lineage because Cain was not Adam's son. Book of Enoch, chapter 69, verse 6. And the third, and the name of the third is God-Re-El. God is Satan's true name, and he deceived the entire world. This is the one that showed all the deadly blows to the sons of men, and he led astray Eve and showed the weapons of death to the children of men, the shield, the breastplate, and the swords for slaughter, and all the weapons of death to the sons of men. Satan's true name is God-Re-El, and the false pen of the Canaanite scribes, which are his children, inserted his name through the entirety of the manuscripts, and they removed the true name of the Father and Son, which is Yahuwah and Yahushua. Jeremiah 8:8 states the pen of the Canaanite scribes are false, and 1 Chronicles 2:55 tell you that the Canaanites are the Canaanites, which is one of the 10 tribes of Canaan. Satan truly deceived the entire world. Enoch 69, verse 6. Luke chapter 10, verse 18. I see Satan fall like lightning from heaven here on earth until this very day, causing confusion and havoc among the sons of men. The Creator's name is Yahuwah, and his Son's name is Yahushua. As pertaining to the true name of the Father and Son family, I recommend everyone go to this website, publish the name of Yahuwah. It has wonderful information pertaining to the true name of the Father and the Son. Publish the name of Yahuwah. Then in that same website, chapter 17, the Messiah's original name, the letter J, was invented in the year 1524. The Messiah's true name is similar to Joshua. Let me get to it here. As it states right here, while our Savior was upon the earth, he was called by his original Hebrew name, Yahushua. As it states in Acts chapter 4, verse 12, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved, and that is Yahushua. So no, family, contrary to what you've been falsely taught by traditions of men, Adam and Eve were not the only people on planet Earth. That's enough for now. Like, share, and subscribe. Much love and a ahab to all humanity, to the melanated children of Abari first, and to the Gentiles and the other nations who have repented and taken hold of the covenant of Yahuwah Elohim. For through the shed blood of his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, we can all be cleansed and redeemed. Much ahab, Elder O signing off. Please share this lesson this channel and this ministry with everyone you know. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, much love, much ahab, much love, much respect. Elder O signing off. Shalom, family. Peace.